At a time when the globe is reeling from the biggest global disruption and health crisis in a generation, it is a wake-up call that a profound cultural and systematic transformation is urgently required. One that our civilization has so far failed to embrace. A transition to a society and economic system that loves nature, stops taking it for granted, and recognizes that we rely on nature more than nature relies on us. This is about resetting our relationship with the earth in order to protect the incredible variety of life on it, to support a fair, healthy and prosperous society, and ultimately to assure our own survival. At speeds unheard of in millions of years, nature is vanishing globally. Each specimen I gather has a tale to tell on how humans are harming the planet, and I've seen this firsthand. The natural world has reached its breaking point as a result of how we produce and use food and energy, as well as the obvious disregard for the environment that is ingrained in our current economic model. The COVID-19 pandemic is a clear illustration of how we have lost our relationship with nature. It has brought to light the intricate relationship between nature, human health and well-being, as well as the grave threat posed by the unparalleled loss of biodiversity to both human and environmental health. 4 of the 9 boundaries making our planet habitable for modern life have already been broken by humanity. Humans have luck on their side. We have lived on a largely stable and resilient planet for many centuries. By destroying forests and cultivating crops, we have changed the train as our civilizations have grown. Pollution we have produced has wiped off entire species of plants and animals. However, our globe has continued to rotate, supporting us while remaining more or less stable and in balance. We are introducing too many nutrients like nitrogen to our ecosystems. The climate is changing too quickly. Animals are going extinct too quickly, and we keep destroying forests and other natural areas at a faster and faster rate. And we are slowly but surely approaching passing the 5 final boundaries. Well, we have already crossed the boundary of our atmosphere. At the current level, there are around 400 parts per million of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And this means that we run the risk of dangerously high temperatures, rising sea levels, debilitating droughts and floods, and other climate-related problems. In many parts of the world, we have already lost 16% of the biodiversity. This is higher than the safe level of roughly 10%. Take this year as an example. It was plagued by floods that ravaged Pakistan and the Middle East, record-breaking heat waves in Europe, and a drought unlike any other that is starting to expose ancient events, dinosaur footprints, for example. Crossing those 2 boundaries Climate change and the health of our planet's ecosystems is especially worrisome because doing so can shove the Earth into completely different states. Cut down enough tropical rainforests and the remainder will flip from rainforest to savanna, for instance. And all the benefits of forests will be lost. Or raise the planet's temperature enough to cause the ice sheet to collapse. They will, of course, never return, and so will not be able to reflect most of the heat from our planet's surface. We are already close to the point of no return. Time to throw our hands in despair? Well, not at all. We need to respond to nature's SOS. Not only is it necessary to protect the tigers, rhinos, whales, bees, trees and all other beautiful diversity of life that we cherish and have a moral obligation to cohabit with, but disregarding it also endangers the health, wealth and future of nearly 8 billion people. So we have 8 billion good reasons to protect nature. There is a chance to mend our relationship with nature and reduce the likelihood of pandemics in the future. But this better future begins with the choice that governments, businesses and individuals around the world make today. A healthy society and a booming economy depend on nature. So world leaders urgently need to safeguard and restore it. There is still time for us to make things right. It's time for the world to come to an agreement on a new deal for nature and people, pledging to halt and reverse the loss of nature by the end of this decade and create an economy and society that is carbon neutral and nature positive. It is our generation and the generations to come that will bear the brunt of the effects of climate change. Although we have not contributed much to the crisis, we are in a position to be able to reserve the course of things and build a fairer, more sustainable and carbon neutral future. This might feel like a moment of hopelessness, but actually this can be our turning point. The idea that humankind is now so influential and strong that we are inflicting change on the entire world might be frightening. Before we understand that we may choose to improve the world, if indeed we are so powerful. Every day we make choices about what we eat for dinner, what we watch on television, and what we post on social media. But take into account that we now have a choice in what the future will bring. And by using our imaginations, we can do so right now. I choose to see a future in which we learn to live sustainably on Earth, manage our world without destroying it, and learn to work with nature rather than against it. I'm frequently asked, what can we do to save the planet? Well, I think there are many different solutions, but one strategy is what I call rewilding the planet, which simply means putting nature at the center of our decision making. So let's imagine that wonderful future and rewild the world. Don't give up. The future is in our hands. What we must do is simply make the choices. Disaster or triumph? What future can you imagine?